I'm back again. Earlier on in the year, we're only on March, aren't we? When would it have been now? I think it was February. Was it mid-February? I had a pre-order coming for Jango Fett here. Pre-ordered him with the Hasbro Pulse, because I did him and the Boba Fett from the Book of Boba Fett, and they were due to land a couple of days apart. I got Boba Fett first, which I did one of these look at videos and a few photos. Great figure, really like it. And then a few days later, Jango came. Opening him up out of the box, and the tubes, pipes, whatever you want to call them, that feed the... I'm just trying to think, is this flamethrower? Yeah, the flamethrower on his right gauntlet. The tubes were snapped. So, email to Hasbro Pulse, packed up, sent back, and I think it was about a week ago now, I think, the replacement came, which is there. So now, belatedly, I'm going to take a look at Star Wars Attack of the Clones Jango Fett. That's Jango with a silent D. So silent, he doesn't have one. Let's get on with it, shall we? Jango Fett, number 10, Star Wars Attack of the Clones. Usual Black Series packaging. Hasbro branding, 4+, choking hazard. Nice bit of artwork there on the side. I like this bleeding, this red that bleeds up into the black and white pencil style looking artwork, and then we've got a bit of the Geonosian and background at the back. On the back here, usual warning text boxes, that same line artwork, and then we've got a blurb all about Jango, which I will just hold it steady there for a moment if you want to read it, because I'm not going to read it out to you. It's not story time. I think I am. Jack and Ori. And then this side, just got a bit of side Jango. Star Wars Black Series logo. Top, plain, nothing but the hook hanger. And at the bottom, some more warning text or legalese or whatever it is. And then a barcode. A barcode? It's not a bard. Who's it? William Shakespeare? Forsooth, pray tell, 'tis yon barcode I see through yonder box flap. Yeah, that's not working for me. Okay, and then, last but not least, we have Jango Fett himself, which can be seen through the window of the box. We've got his helmet, his two pistols, and his jetpack. Right, I think we should get him out, don't you? And to get him out of the box, we are going to need the ruler. This ruler malarkey is getting quite popular, isn't it? I think we're going to end up having to. It's going to end up having to have its own channel or OnlyFans. Yeah, could have a ruler on. Oh, don't want to do that. Could have a ruler OnlyFans, couldn't we? Where I take photos of the ruler in provocative poses. Maybe like that. So you just get side onwards. Who knows? It's all very silly. Right, we've got the box open. I'd already cut the sellotape previously because, as you'll appreciate, I've already had him out of the box to take a look at him and check the hose pipes that are on the back of the right arm, and I've done some photos as well. They've got that usual that nobody pays any attention to. Slide him out. I'll take the inner card out as well because that come on, you got the bloody thing out. to one side. That artwork for the Geonosian. So we've got like this there. I don't know if you can see that if I'm holding it up properly for the camera there. But yeah, so we've got the platform where Jango and Dooku and Poggle the Lesser were stood watching the arena where Anakin, Obi-Wan and Padme were almost going to meet their certain doom. But they didn't. They didn't. But yeah, I like that. I like that washed out effect. And it's not a photograph from the movie, or a still, should I say. It is actually artwork. It has been drawn, so I do like that. Anyway, we're not talking about the box, are we? Let's get rid of the box. And here we have Jango in the rather crackly, noisy and sounding tray. So we'll get him out. I'm going to take the jetpack out first. I apologise if it sounds awful over the microphone. I'll get the guns out, pistols, and then last but not least, we'll take Jango out. Open that, get rid of that, we don't need that. Let's pop Jango to one side for a moment, we'll look at the accessories first. Jetpack! Attaches on the back, central nub, and then two upper ones to keep it centralised. It's very blue and silver. And then we've got the jet nozzles that do vector so there is a little bit of posing. Now when I was messing about with him earlier on, I was actually thinking about this. I don't know whether it's canon, but the accepted narrative for the whole Jango Boba thing is that Boba Fett is using Jango's armour. But then, as I was looking at it, as I do from time to time, and when I was waiting for the figure to arrive, I did note that there are some subtle and slight differences between the jetpack that Jango has and the one that Boba has. The main one being that the thrust vectors here are not directly out the bottom on Boba, they actually come out of the side here. That got me thinking, is the jetpack that Boba has, is it Jango's and that he's just modified it, or is it another backpack that he's acquired over time? The other difference as well, although not major, is that Boba's doesn't have the two little nipples, if you want to call them, over the fuel tanks here, and I don't think that comes out, does it? No, it doesn't. That's actually moulded in. Boba has a longer protruding missile out of the central launcher bit there. And it's a different colour, but the colour doesn't matter. I'm just talking about the general appearance and aesthetic of it. So yeah, it got me thinking. That was the first one. So I'll put that down. Pistols, nothing really remarkable about those. Rather elegant looking pistols compared to what we get in the original trilogy, which are much more blocky and functional, where these look like these look like the iPod of weaponry, very sleek and overly designed, perhaps. But they do the job. We'll pop them down, and then the helmet, the bucket, if you will. I do like this. This looks really, really nice. The paintwork on it gives a nice luster, very shiny, very reflective, and the targeting sensor does swing down. Going back to the differences between Boba and Jango, the other one as well was the helmet. Jango's helmet, whilst superficially looks the same as Boba's, is narrower. Now, I don't think it will be as noticeable on the Black Series action figures, but when you look at the movies, Jango's helmet doesn't flare out at the sides as much as what Boba's does. And again, this got me thinking, I'll just put it on my thumb there. Whoa! I'm a bounty hunter. Blah, blah, blah. It's not finger bobs. Give up. Where was I? Oh, yes. So, Was it a case of that in canon? Was it another helmet that Boba picked up, or was it Jango's and he's just messed about with it, give it a bit of tinkering? The logical and obvious explanation is that because the prequel trilogy came after the sequel trilogy, and when they were devising the character of Jango Fett, they would have gone back to scratch and built a brand new helmet, and it probably just that it came out that it was just slightly narrower. Same principle as what we have with the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian's helmet is very, very narrow compared to Boba's. But anyway, aside. So, very nice helmet. We like that. Very shiny, shiny. Let's put that down. And we'll get to Jango himself. Let's just straighten him all out, see. It looks like he's... looks like he's been dropped somewhere and he's just landed all akimbo. Right. I'm going to start with the face sculpt. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. If I can bring it a bit closer to the camera, hopefully it will focus and you'll be able to see it well enough. As I always say, if not, there will be photos so you can see. It does have that element of uncanny valley about it. They've got scars marked on the face. He's got a 5 o'clock shadow going off. The eyes are painted rather well. There's no kind of like doofusy kind of look or anything there. And then the hair, there's actual some texture and moulding to the hair rather than it just being painted on. So yes, it looks okay. It looks pretty decent. It would be interesting to if you were of a mind to do this, if you wanted to get a Boba Fett figure, maybe the Return of the Jedi one or the Empire Strikes Back one, you could put this head sculpt on that Boba, and it would, because he would look the same. You could have a head sculpt for Boba. But anyway, we've got the flight suit, which is this bluey, purpley kind of colour. Utilitarian. Is that the right word? Utilitarian. It's got lots of moulded detail in it, all the creases and the folds. It looks okay. It doesn't look too bad. The shoulder and chest and stomach armour is on this. It's kind of it's like a sleeve that's gone over the top. So there is a body kind of thing underneath here, and this has gone over the top. It's a bit like a softer rubber. It's painted rather nice. There's a fleck to it to give it that extra shininess and reflectiveness. There's no the shoulder armor, not pauldrons. They're not pauldrons. This shoulder armor is that. A pauldron would be kind of like what the sand troopers have. The sand troopers, that's a pauldron that goes over the top. But this is just shoulder armor. Anyway, I'm digressing. The paintwork on this is really nice, and the paintwork matches and carries on through to the gauntlets. And I like how they've painted the tip gold there on that one. And then I'm going to come back to this. I'm not ignoring it. I'm coming back to this. I'm not going to bend it, but yeah, we've got this gauntlet here. Nice brown coloured pouches, which then extend down onto the holsters for the pistols. We've got silver painted detail here for the buckles, and then it goes just a bit plain round the back. There's lots of moulded detail, but there's no painted detail there. Now, the thing I do want to point out is we've got this nice paintwork here for the upper armour and the gauntlets, but then when it comes to the crotch armour, thigh, knee and shin, and boots, head, shoulders, knees and toes, it's just coloured plastic. And while just at a glance it doesn't really affect that much, when you sit and study it, it then does become more glaring. And I don't know why they didn't bother to paint it. It would have looked so much better rather than just having I mean, there is a little, looks like a little bit of a fleck in the plastic itself, but it just looks like shiny grey swirly moulded plastic, and that's a pity. Is that if I was of a mind to, I'd probably boil and pop this and paint them, because I reckon that is, I mean, I don't know if they still do it. It was a Citadel paint, Runefang Silver. I reckon that's a close match to Runefang Silver, and I think painting these would really just make it stand out a lot more. Pop is the word I believe people use it, make it pop. But as it is, and really, to be fair, for my intentions, I don't think I'm moved enough to bother doing that. But if you were yourself, then it could be an option. And then we've got just some black painted boots at the bottom with some nice detailing on there, like Space Doc Martens or rigger boots. Yeah, rigger boots. That's the one. Yeah, they had like the thick, chunky grips at the bottom. And that's it. So that's the aesthetic wise of him. We'll now get into the articulation. The head is on a double ball joint, so there's a ball joint at the bottom of the neck, and then there's a ball joint there at the head, which can bring you all the way down, and you can look around and spin around, etc., things like that. The arms at the shoulder will bend up so far because the moulding of the shoulder armour stops it. There is, you can just vaguely see if I can get it in focus and shot, there is a butterfly joint in there. The arms will lift out to the sides, but when it does, it kind of interferes with that upper armour, so you get about that, which isn't much. Bring them back down again. The joints are very stiff. We'll go this one first. We have bend in and out on the. Or have we got ball joints on those? Because the Boba Fett had ball joints on the hands, and I wonder if this one does, because it does seem to be bending up and down and side to side. So it's possible, right? There could be potentially ball joints in the hands there. The gauntlets do twist round just below the elbow, and above the elbow it also twists round as well. We've got these pipes here that feed this gauntlet. Now these are sufficiently long enough and out of the way so you can bend the elbow, which is just a little bit of over 90 degrees, and it doesn't damage them. They move out of the way, which is what we like. And then on the other arm, so I'll put it into the position where it was when I first opened it out of the box. So when you first open it out of the box, it's a bit, I can't get it back to how it was now. I've done that good a job. So if you can see this, there's an inner sleeve here, and that is bent round, so it's following the line at the back there. And I think that if you're not careful, what may have happened maybe to the one that I got that I received broken, maybe before they was put it in the packaging, they're having a little manipulative out of it. And when you bend this up, it probably pulled it too tight over the elbow and it snapped it, because it was snapped where it connects here. But what I did was, when I got this second one, I twisted this inner sleeve round and then pushed the arm back. So then when you do bend his arm, they come out to the side like that, so you don't end up snapping them. Because I don't know why, for some reason, they didn't make the tubes as long on this side as what they did on that. Which doesn't make any sense, really. But we are talking about Hasbro. And again, the same, the gauntlet twists just below the elbow, and we've got this, I think we've got this hand on a ball joint. Waist rotation, which will go all the way around, dips side to side, backwards and forwards. Thighs rotate out slightly, each side. They then bend upwards like so, so you can sit down. Back out again. They would be able to, yeah, they do. But I would be careful, just because we don't want to snap anything on. Yeah, there's ball joints in there on the belt and the holsters. The knees bend back 90 degrees to that, like so. The knee armour is free floating, it's not attached to anything. We've then got at the knee a twist for the lower legs, and then the feet bend down like so, bend up very slightly, and then they've got the twist pivot on the ankles. And that's it. That's your Jango Fett. Let's get him tooled and armoured up. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to put one of his pistols in his holster. And they're just sliding like that. I'm going to put one of his pistols in his hand. Big difference here, because there's no elaborate weaponry to try and bend over the hands, you're not going to get any stress marks on the plastic, which is good. That's always a bonus. We'll then put his flight pack or jet pack on. There we go. And then last but not least, we're going to go and put his helmet on. And that... Oh, just before I do, again, I don't understand this, but again, we're talking about Hasbro. So on Jango Fett, it doesn't have that inner spacer on the helmet like what Boba did. And if you remember from when I did the, if you caught it, the video that I did for Boba Fett, I took that inner spacer out to make the helmet fit on it better. It doesn't have a spacer on this one, and I don't know why, but again, it's the inconsistencies. So the helmet will go on like that. It would do. Come on, it's fighting me. There we go. And there we go. And we've got his helmet on now. And now it looks like a proper Mandalorian. And yes, Jango Fett is a Mandalorian. And so is Boba. And that's all I've got to say about that. Let's just twist him round now. And he just looks the part now. I must admit, I do prefer this figure with the helmet on rather than off. And again, don't worry, I've got some photos coming up when I've finished, which will show you in more detail. And if we can just get him into a bit of a pose. To finish off. There we go. And that's it. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. It's only a short one. It was just a brief look around. That looks great. I like that. Okay, let's go back to me and close this this short look out. But that's it. That's Black Series Attack of the Clones Jango Fett. I like him. I do like him. I'll just take him off the shelf here so I can manipulate him and play him about with him while I'm telling you what I think. Which isn't going to be much different to what you've already heard anyway, to be fair. Yeah, I do prefer this with the helmet on rather than off. Curious as to the thought process and the reasons why they didn't paint the lower armour like they did the upper armour. My assumption would be that perhaps it's down to the type of plastic that's being used. This upper part that is painted is more rubbery, whereas this is harder. So maybe the differences, maybe the paint wouldn't adhere to the plastic of the lower armour. However, I'm sure that they could have made the lower armour out of the same plastic as what they have the upper armour. Yeah, my gut tells me it's a cost thing and they're cheaped out. But, like I say, it doesn't... I don't think it affects the figure that much. It still looks good for it. It still looks nice. And unless you're overly bothered about that minor detail, I think most people will live with it. I mean, the same goes for the backpack as well. I think maybe the backpack could have benefited from this silver paint as well from the upper torso, but it's not. That's how we've been given him, and I'm happy enough with him. I am happy enough with him. I did want to do some shots with the Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, but that's packed away, and I just couldn't be bothered getting it out just to do those few photos. Next time I'm in there and I'm going through stuff, I'll probably pull him and do them then, but I can't see when that's going to be. Right, I'm going to wrap this up. If you want the figure, then yeah, it's a solid recommend from me. Just be mindful of the tubes on the right arm and the sleeve thing. Twist it round, the sleeve bit there, just twist it round to the side of the arm, so then when you do bend the arm, it doesn't snap those tubes, those pipes. And I'm sure it will look good complementing other figures that are already out and potentially will be coming out from that Attack of the Clones line. Right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it as ever. The usual, if you've liked it, do all that stuff that people do. Bye for now. Take care, and I'll catch you soon.
Vault's a fucking icon.